Hey, everybody. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to day two of Reframe, turning fear into forward momentum. So, yesterday, if you missed out on day one, we went over fear and how fear sometimes appears logic and it's just disguise, right? And it's keeping you stuck, it's keeping you playing small. We learned how to name the fear, normalize it, and navigate through it because once you take the driver's seat, then you can finally move forward, right, and get away from fears. So today we are going to reframe from fear and we're going to shift gears into mindset. Because even when fear quiets down, if your mindset hasn't caught up to your skill set, then you're going to stay stuck. So you already have a skill set, right? When it's built, tested, and it's refined over years. But the problem is too often people operate with a job based mindset instead of a value based mindset. So you see yourself through the lens of your job title, right? You think, oh, I'm just an analyst. A um, I'm an analyst. I'm an HR coordinator. You know, I'm a business analyst, but you don't really look at yourself through your skill set, right? You're not really looking at what you have that can launch your career, that can help you get a promotion, that can launch a business, help you consult, or even design a completely new level of freedom, right? Because these are all things that can definitely happen when you realize you need to operate on a value based thing and not just a job based skill set, right? So, excuse me. So now let's reframe this, right? Stop defining yourself by what you do for a company and start defining yourself by what you're capable of creating. So now I want you to evaluate your skills. And I'm going to ask you to do this the old fashioned way, right? No AI prompts, no software, no let me go find some tests to take to see what are my biggest skills. No, I want you to do this by hand because when you do this by hand, it's going to get you to think. So grab a notebook, piece of paper, or open up a document and make three columns. So we're going to categorize these things by core, catalyst, and change. Those are your three categories right there: core, catalyst, and change. Now, what are each one of these skills? So your core skills are the ones that create. These are the skills that you use every day, right? So this is whatever's very core for your role. That's what those are. We have your catalyst skills. These are skills that can help bring about change. And then we have your creative skills. These are the ones that are exciting, that they excite you, that you're passionate about. So write down those three columns. And when you start to evaluate your skills, put each of your skills in one of those columns. Excuse me. So I want to tell you a little story about a friend of mine. Um, well, before I get to the story, I just want you to know this is a very simple exercise, but it reveals a lot because from this mix of categories, you're able to figure out what you can do and what and where your potential lies, like what's something that's going to excite you, right? So I have a friend. She's from Belize. She was an administrative professional at the time that I met her, right? Lovely girl, very traditional role values in terms of work, but she always liked to write. She was a really good writer, very creative on that side. So she started getting a little into copywriting. But one day she did somebody's LinkedIn profile. She just gave somebody some advice that she's a connection to. The guy really loved her profile and was like, "Oh, I want to pay you for it." And she says to me, "I can get paid for that?" I'm like, "Of course you can get paid." She's like, "But they're my writing skills." I'm like, "Mm-hmm. But you can get paid for those." And so then I had her do my LinkedIn profile. And let me tell you, I went through her process. She sent me the first draft, and I was just like, yeah, go ahead. Send me an invoice because it was amazing, right? We had a few tweaks. But when I used that profile, and I used it for years, like I recently changed that profile because I've done a few shifts, but I had that profile up for like 3, 4 years. I got 3 times more clients than my original profile from her redoing my profile because she tapped into those creative skills. But then it gets better. She then used what she learned to teach other people around her. And so she taught people within her community different things, trained them, and got opportunities that got them to get US dollars while working remotely in Belize. So she became a catalyst just from her creative skills. And that's something that's, really important to think about. Like, what are these skills that you have that can really make the impact and the difference that you want to see in the world just because of something you're passionate about, right? There's definitely something that you can do on the creative side that can become a catalyst for change. So now back to you. Once you've categorized your skills, let's look at patterns, right? Ask yourself, which of these core skills can be repurposed? Which catalyst skills can open new doors? And which creative skills have been buried under obligations, but they're skills you really want to tap back into, right? Because sometimes we push aside the creative stuff because we're being responsible, right? You know, I know people used to love to dance. They don't dance as much anymore. People who love to write, they don't write as much anymore. Why? Life, right? The spouse, the kids, work, everything. You don't have time to do those creative things. But that's where you can figure out what else can you do? What else can you pivot into? How can you use those skills to take you further, right? So you can use this exact framework no matter where you are in your journey with those three skills, right? If you want a promotion, highlight your catalyst skills. If you want to pivot, lean into your core and creative mix. If you want to start a business, build an offer around your catalyst skills, right? The change that somebody wants. That's how you solve a problem, by being a change agent, basically. And then here's where it gets interesting. You can use this same framework for organizations. So if you're leading a team, you're pitching a new idea, initiative, or introducing a policy, you can apply the same three categories, right? So for core, how does this meet the current business needs? For catalyst, how is it going to drive measurable change? And for creative, how does it bring innovation or engagement that others haven't considered? Right? These are things that are very important to businesses. Leaders who frame ideas this way can get heard, right? Because you're not coming at it with the standard suggestions, right? You're being a strategic thinker. So let's say you're on a product operations or analytics team and you're proposing a new dashboard that consolidates performance metrics from three different systems, right? Most people would pitch it as, oh, we really need a dashboard, right, to make things easier. That's kind of soft. It doesn't really going to move a decision maker. But if you use a framework and say, like with your core skills, you say, well, right now, data lives in three different places and the team is manually pulling reports, which leads to delays and inconsistent numbers. But centralizing metrics gives us one source of truth for weekly decisions. That makes somebody pause and go, oh, wait, yeah, that sounds good. We could do that, right? If it's as a catalyst, you could say with the unified dashboard, we cut reporting time by 40% and can identify performance gaps in real time instead of 2 weeks later, right? The speed directly impacts revenue and customer satisfaction. That's a no-brainer. That's a compelling case for a decision maker to go, well, all right, well then go ahead. Let's get this going, right? We need that. So once you understand your business impact, this becomes more than just tools. This is how, like, you get leadership to buy in without having to chase them down, right? You ever had to chase down leadership just to make a decision of something that's really important? If you sell it to them in a way that shows that impact, it's so much easier. So once you've done this exercise, right, now it's time to start making decisions. So I'm going to go back to the individual side of this, right? Every next move that you make should align with three things: your values, your happiness, and your longevity. So for your values, does this feel aligned with who you are and what you stand for? Right? So if you look at your skills, you're thinking, oh, I can do this, I can do that. Does it align with your values? Does it make you feel comfortable? What about your happiness? Right? Is this still something that you think will fulfill you in a year from now? If that's a yes, then you consider doing it. That gives you a step closer in your decision making. Then there's longevity. Can this grow and sustain you in a direction for at least 3 years? Right? That's whether it's a pivot, whether it's a business idea, whether you're approaching it to the business, right? Is this something that we can do long term? Where's the longevity in this? Because when you start to filter your choices, right, then you're going to stop chasing trends and start building strategy. And when you're building strategy, then things get to be, more impactful, for lack of a better word. Excuse me. And then if you're in like leadership or let's say HR, this is where organizational alignment comes in because it's the same principles that you would apply to teams, right? You would say, are we building roles around titles or around capabilities? Are we rewarding output or value creation? Are we helping people grow or are we keeping them in boxes that sever convenience? Like, what are we doing for our people? So when leaders reframe strategy through value over title, engagement and innovation will automatically go up. Excuse me. So right now, as you're thinking through this, right, I've given you the 3 different columns. What's one skill that you can think of right now that you've been underestimating that could probably open up more doors for you or bring a new energy into your work? What are you thinking that could help you really kind of take off to do the things that, could really matter to you? Think about it. I'll give you a second. Really think about this. Yeah, you thought about it? All right. And what's one idea you could bring to senior leadership using the core Catalyst creative framework? Think about that one. So your mindset is very important because it determines whether you see your skills as limited or limitless, right? Because when you shift from job description to value proposition, your career, your confidence, your creativity, they all evolve because now you're thinking bigger. You're thinking strategically. And when you start to think strategically, just so much more happens for you. Guaranteed. So much more. Excuse me. So when you shift your mindset, it also allows you to stop waiting for somebody else to give you permission. Because too often we're waiting for somebody to say it's okay to move forward, that it's okay to go after the catalyst, to do the things, to ask for the promotion. You don't need permission, not from anybody. It's internal. But you have to shift your mindset first. You have to understand, what is this value that you're bringing to the table? What is it that is going to impact lives? So this helps push you past your fear because you shift out that mindset. So now when the fear shows up, which it will, your mindset is, but wait, I have value. I can do more. So when fear says, but you're not enough, you can say, that's not true. I'm a catalyst. I have catalytic skills. I have core and creative skills that have shown me the potential of what I can be and what I can do. Because your mindset has changed. It's that reprogramming. It's like reprogramming yourself from the negative self-talk to positive self-talk. That's what a mind shift will do for you in terms of your skills. So don't just think of your skills anymore as, oh, they're only for work. They're not only for work. They're for you. They're to build the life that you desire. They are to help you enhance the things that you do and to make things comfortable and fun again for you. I know somebody's out there, you don't really like what you do anymore because it's not fun. It used to be fun. You used to love it. Love it. Now, not so much anymore. It's because your mindset has shifted around it. You feel like your creativity is tapped out. It's not. I guarantee it's not. You just need to shift your mindset around your skill set. You're not just insert your job title. You're not just a customer service rep. You're not just a HR leader. You're not just a business analyst. You're not just a teacher. Like, your identity is so much more than just that job title. And so is your value. It's not tied to that job title. So remember to put that into your mindset shift. Sorry. Make sure I keep up the 3 categories skills for you. So you remember these: core, catalyst, creative. Write those 3 down, create your list, figure out what are the skills that you want to lean into and use those skills to move yourself forward. So thank you for joining me today. Tomorrow's our last day. It's day 3, so tune in. I also have some things to offer you at the end of day 3 that I think will help you move forward as well. So make sure you're here. Thank you for coming. And as always, sparkle bright.